Hello my friends, welcome to Pram Strings. I'm Henriette and today is lesson 50 of the violin class for beginners Crickboon course. And I'm in awe of you that you're still here after 49 lessons and here for lesson 50. That is definitely something to celebrate. And to celebrate today we're going to play a piece which is yet again only appearing in the green edition of the book. So find the download link below. This piece that we're learning today is called Toya Libre and it is a German popular song. And it is quite a long piece that uses all of the techniques that we have learned in the past. So there's nothing new to add. It's just that one technique follows on to the next one a little bit more swiftly. So in this piece, we're just practicing your adaptability and quickly spotting what techniques you use to play this. So let me play it for you first. There we go, lovely piece. And you may have noticed from my playing that this piece is in three sections. You've got what's called an ABA shape. So we've got a beginning, which we call section A. And then when you look at the fourth line, it says our tempo there. That is where a contrasting section begins. And then towards the end of line 6, that is where the beginning comes back. So we've got our A section again. So you see very clearly A, B, A. Now, you may have noticed that we're in 3/4 time. But actually there are very few bars. In fact, I don't think there's a single bar with 3 crotchet notes, 3 quarter notes in. So we've got lots of quavers. We're going to have to fiddle the bow a little bit. Most of the times you play sort of in the middle area of the bow. So when you look through this piece and you look here, 2 quavers or 2/8 notes are the same duration as 1 crotchet or quarter note, you see. So those get the same amount of bow. So the grand middle of the bow. But then when you look ahead a little bit here, you can see you've got a crotchet or a quarter note and 2 quavers or 2/8 notes on the same bow. So then you use the whole bow for this section. Then here you've got different note value again. A dotted crotchet or dotted quarter note gets the whole bow. And then we want to use a fair amount of bow, but maybe not quite the whole bow, because we don't want to put too much emphasis on these two notes, so be careful on that. But then you want to use whole bows again there, and you can see that we're starting to adapt our bowing a little bit, and we are having to become more flexible as our music becomes more complicated. We have to be more flexible with our bowing. So our golden rule is use as much bow as you can within certain limits. And when we get to the middle section of our piece and we add some semiquavers, or 16th notes as you guys in America call them, we are going to use distinctly shorter bows to articulate these notes a little bit better. So there are two different viewpoints, aren't they? From a violinist's perspective, the golden rule is use as much bow. But then from a musical viewpoint, we sometimes say, oh, actually, if we use that much bow, it doesn't sound as good because we get false accents, for instance, when I use bows that are too long. Or sometimes we want to emphasize some notes a little bit more precisely, like we're going to be doing with these 16th notes with those semiquavers, and then we're deliberately shortening the bows. So that can be a little bit confusing, and I hope you forgive me if I have confused you already. Before we start to play, let's have a look at our sharp. We've got an F sharp, and that means we've got the same finger pattern as we have in our G major scale. So that means our second finger, I don't think it appears at all on the G string, no. So on the D string it's a wide second finger, on the A string it is close, and on the E string it's also close. So that's our finger pattern. And then it says andantino at the top. And andantino means kind of like a walking pace. So it is sort of a relaxed pace. You don't need to go very fast. It's sort of one of those middle speeds, not too fast and not too slow. And I'm going to start at the point of the bow, or near the point of the bow should I say, because I'm going to use that grand middle that I talked about. So almost the entire bow, but shorten the bow a little bit at the point and heel, okay? So it's not quite the whole bow, but very nearly. So that's where we're starting. 1, 2. Lovely job. Let's have a word about when to use the fourth finger and when to use the open string. In past lessons we've said when the note after an open string or a fourth finger is on the next string, you choose the open string. So you could see that right at the start. Okay, so I'm following after the A, I follow on to the B, which is a higher note on the A string. So I would normally say you would go onto the A string there. However, when you play two notes slurred, you're meant to play them smoothly together. And if you then go and cross a string, that undoes your own smoothness, doesn't it? So when you have a slur, then use the fourth finger. So you have those two notes under the slur on the same string. See, that sounds a lot more smooth than this. Although, yes, it sounds a bit brighter on the open A, but we tend to use fourth fingers while you play slurs. Okay, so as you've noticed with the fingering now, as well as what we discussed with the bowing, it's not all a rigid rule, and the more advanced you get, the more freedom you get in interpreting bowings or fingerings in the way you see fit. And I'm trying in my lessons to explain to you why I choose a certain bowing or why I choose a certain fingering, so that helps you in future to make these decisions for yourself. So let's start it one more time, shall we? And let's watch out where the fourth fingers are indicated. 1, 2. third line, you have a clear example where you want to play the fourth finger so that you can stay on the A string. You see, 4, 2, and we're starting just before that, after the rest. So we're starting on the second line, in the fourth bar, but then on the up bow. I'll count us in for 2. 1, 2. Let's hold it here a moment, because at the end of the third line we have seen the words poco ritenuto, and you may remember from earlier lessons, and now is the time perhaps to really take in that term, it means a little bit slower. If we do that, if we slow it down, we can clearly indicate that this is the end of our A section. You remember we talked about ABA right at the start of this class, and this is the end of our first A section. And what comes next is a bit different, and we'll pick up the pace again. You see the words a tempo, which means back to your original speed after you have slowed down. Now I'm starting right at the point here. Zigzag your bow here. And here I want us to pause a little bit. We know that we've got 3 beats in a bar, and we're going to subdivide this whole bar into quavers or eighth notes. And I'll show you with the music exactly how I'm going to count this. So we're right here. We know from our previous piece that a dotted, here it is, a dotted crotchet equals 3 quavers, so a dotted quarter note equals 3 eighth notes. So we're counting 1 and 2 and, this is 3, and this together would be 3 and, the and bit of the 3. But now we've split this into 2s. We've never come across these notes, these semiquavers or 16th notes they're called, and they are twice as fast as quavers or eighth notes as these ones. So I could say a hand, and then you can hear how fast they go. So all in all, I count this 1 and 2 and 3, a hand, a hand. Okay, and then you can hear how fast it goes. 1, where are we? 1 and 2 and 3, a hand, 1 and 2. Now these notes are very short bows, aren't they? We've had long bows here at the start, and here I would encourage you to shorten your bow. So not to use too much bow, because that is going to sound really whooshy otherwise. So keep it nice and compact there so you can articulate your notes. Let's play this. So we're starting right on this bar, okay? 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and would you like to practice that with me a couple of times? So all in all, I'm using about this much bow, you see, right in the middle. Okay? So let's now go back to our tempo. After the quaver rest in the bar, just before the a tempo. 1 and 2. and that is what I love. Let's hold it here for a moment. That I can use the bits that I've practiced twice because it comes again, and that is really nice. And here finishes the B section. So the B section started where it said a tempo, and it finishes right here. And from here onwards, it's the same as the beginning. So let's carry on from here to the end. And because you can add a bit more expression here in these bars. Perhaps you have noticed that this is twice the same. It's this. And this whole section comes back. See, that comes twice. So what we might do is play one section loud, the next one softer. So play it as if you play an echo. So I'm starting now, the penultimate line, the second bar after the rest. I'm playing up bow there. Let's play nice and loud here. And now go really soft, so make your bow shorter. Ooh, you see, then you add a little bit extra there. It's not written in the music, it's just up to each individual musician to play as they think it's the nicest way to play it, you see. Now in the past we've said, what can you do to play louder? Use more bow. So this is why I've said at the start of this lesson, you've got to be a little bit more flexible and a bit more adaptable now with your bowing. So you might use the whole bow here to play louder. Then when you play the same section softer, shorten your bow. That was our first way of playing loud and soft, wasn't it? Using more bow. The second way to play louder and softer is to come closer to the bridge with your bow. So you might do that on your first playing of these two bars here. And then when you want to go quieter, move the bow towards the fingerboard a little bit. So let me show you how that works. Come closer to the bridge. Now move towards the fingerboard. And I hope you can hear on the video that the sound is quieter. So we have longer bows or shorter bows. Come closer to the bridge, go towards the fingerboard. That's my second method of playing louder and softer. And then as my third way, I can press a little bit harder or press a little bit less. So press a bit harder for the loud playing, press a little bit less for the soft playing. And these three ingredients together will make your loud and your soft playing very, very different. So let's start again at the penultimate line, line 8, at the end of the second bar, and we're going to start loud there. After 2, 1, 2. Now soft. Sweet. And now pick up the loudness again, so louder. And here towards the end you will have noticed poco retenuto again. Hold it back a little bit, slow down a little bit. That was wonderful playing. Well done, very good. You've come such a long way in 50 lessons. I can't believe this. Really, really impressive. So now what I'd like you to do when you play this for yourself at home is to imagine what you might like to add in a way of expression. And I am not a teacher who tells you exactly here you need to play loud, there you need to play quiet. Yes, in some places I do. But now I want you to take it from here and add your own interpretation to it. So I'll give you a couple of examples of ways in which you can experiment with your piece. So I can imagine that some people say, I'd like to speed up this piece a little bit. And that is a perfectly valid argument. So you can speed it up a little bit. Other people might say, oh, I'd like to emphasize each first beat of the bar a little bit more. And that is also reasonable to think that. And then you might go a little bit softer here. And now a bit louder again. A bit louder. And that is one way of playing it. So whilst this is an example of how you can make this music more expressive, there isn't a must. And I'd like music to be one of those art forms where you can be totally expressive and give this piece of music its shape that you like, what you believe. When you express the title, Toya Libre means true love. So go and think about what true love means for you personally and how you can enhance your playing with that in mind. I'm hoping you're in for a bit of experimenting here and you'll have lots of fun trying to make this your own piece. Let me know how you get on in the comments section down below this video. Please use that area and I should be delighted, and everyone else with you, to read how you feel about this piece. So thank you very much for watching today. I very much look forward to seeing you again in lesson 51. Goodbye.